Okay. Fine.
Okay, much.
You can hear me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I can hear you.
ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we are now looking into the Hastamalaka Stotram, which is also called as Hastamalakiyam. And we have already studied 7 of this important 14 verses. And as I discussed in the last session, that Hastamalakiyam is nothing but the crux of the teaching of Vedanta, where the Tvam Padartha is discussed. The Tvam Padartha means what? Who am I? Am I the Jiva, which I think I am? Am I the limited body mind sense complex? Am I the one who's born and then exists here for some time and then go away? Am I this limited jiva in space, time, object wise, all kinds of limitations, dukhi, samsari jiva, or am I something else? And our scriptures say that you are not this body, mind, sense complex jiva, that complex, but you are nothing but that nitya upalabdhi swarupa atma. Nitya Upalabdhi means what? That which is Nityam, which is always available as Chaitanya Swarupam. Therefore, what is my nature? I am that Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, which is Nityam, which is Nirvikari, which is Asangaha. And that which does not change, that which does not have any parts, that which does not is not something which is born and then which dies. No, it is nothing like that. It is nothing but that Chaitanyam consciousness which is Nityam, Nirvikari and Ekam, Niravayam Atma. And that is what is talked about, this supposed to be dumb boy, supposed to be this Jada boy who was brought to Acharya Shankara. We don't know his name. And then Shankaracharya questioned him in the usual way. He asked him the usual question as to, a child, who are you? Who are your parents? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? You seem to be a very, very pleasing person. You are a charming child. Tell me who you are. And what comes is 12 verses of absolute pure Advaita Jnanam or Vedanta Jnanam as to this child saying who I am and what I am not. Therefore, the first 3 lines of these verses, every verse, talk about what I am not. And only the last line says, I am that consciousness which is Nitya Upalabdhihi, that which is constantly there, that which is constantly the Aham Swarupa, that which is Nityam, that Nitya Upalabdha Atma or Nityopalabdhi Swarupa, Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma, all the time that is available. Not that it is not there when I'm sleeping, not that it's not there when I'm transacting with the world. No, as a background, as an adhishtanam, that which is lighting up all my activities, that which is making the Sukshma Sharira and the Sthula Sharira very, very sentient, that because of the presence of which the Sukshma Sharira is able to function as Sukshma Sharira, that consciousness which is the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the mind of the mind. What is the meaning of that? It is that consciousness because of which every sense organ, all the jnanendriyas, the karmendriyas, the antakarna, all are able to do their respective functions in their respective fields. And what are these body mind sense complex? It is nothing but objects of my perception. Who am I? I am the very perceiver consciousness. Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. I am that conscious which is the constant awareness because of which the entire body mind sense complex is able to function as one sentient unit. That's what he told, giving examples of Akasha and also the light. Normally in Vedanta, to talk about one without a second and one which does not undergo any change, but one which is present everywhere but not affected by what is present in it. The examples of space and light are taken. Like space is indivisible, space is always there, everywhere it is there. And in this space, the whole world is existing with all its transactions. But the space is asanga, not affected by whatever is happening there. Light is the same thing. It lights up everything. Sunlight lights up everything. The whole Lokacheshta starts with sunlight, with sunrise. But nothing affects the sunlight. Whatever it lights up, that cannot affect it. So, giving these examples, he said that I am that consciousness. But then we have to be very careful. Atma is not light and space, it's only an example. Light, like space, because light and space are also coming in Anatma only. They are not the Atma Swarupa. But just to give an example, these two examples are given. Space is Panchabhautika, therefore it is not Atma, it is a product of Atma. Light is also not Atma, it is an Atma, a product of Atma. Then why do we call Atma as the light of consciousness? It's not some kind of a light like this we see. Light of consciousness means in the presence of which everything is revealed. In the presence of Atma, everything is really revealed. Therefore, it is called the light of consciousness. Let us not imagine Atma to be some, red colored light or golden colored light, or it's not like that. There is no light as such. It is something which reveals itself, reveals everything else. Therefore, it is called light of consciousness. But then Atma cannot be taken as some kind of a light which I perceive. There's nothing like that. When I say I'm constantly experiencing this Atma. And it is compared to space and light as a comparison. So up till the seventh verse we saw where he said, Manaschakshurader viyuktaha swayam yaha. That means I, this Atma, have no avayavas in me. I am not full of mana, chakshu, adi. I am sthula, sukshma, karana, sharira, vyatirikta. I don't have any avayavas or parts like, the mind and the sense organs or anything like that. Manaschakshuradehe manaschakshuradihi. I am the eye of the eye. I am the consciousness behind the eye, because of which the eye functions as the eye. Eye means what? E-Y-E, eye, and all the other sense organs. The third one, he says that Manaschakshuradehe agamya swarupaha. But at the same time, the sense organs and the mind cannot objectify me. I'm not an object of the mind and sense organs. I'm the very subject of I'm the very perceiver, the very subject, the subject consciousness, because of which all these are perceived. I perceive the mind also. I perceive the eyes also. I perceive all the sense organs also as the objects of my perception. And these sense organs and the mind in turn perceive the objects of the world outside. Therefore, who am I? I am Niravayava Atma. I'm Asanga Atma, which is not affected by the actions of the sense organs and the mind. At the same time, I am that consciousness without which the sense organs and the mind cannot function. At the same time, I am this consciousness, the perceiver, who cannot be objectified by the very same sense organs whom I light up. So, Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma, which is said in the seventh verse. Now, let us go to the eighth verse where he gives another example of this consciousness Swarupa. Here, what Hastamalaka, this child, is talking about is nothing but what I am, and giving various examples. Because Acharya Shankara asked, who are you? What is your name? First, he said, I don't belong to any group of jivas like Manusha or Deva or Yaksha. I don't have the dharmas of the Sharira like, Ashrama Dharma or, the Varna Dharma. After that, he says, then who am I? I am that light of consciousness. Light means what? In my presence, everything is happening. And he also described what Jiva is in the fifth verse and the sixth verse. A Jiva is nothing but a reflection of me. When I get reflected in a particular buddhi, that becomes the Jiva. And unfortunately, this intellect mistakes that reflection for reality and forgets the real me. The real me is forgotten, the reflection is taken to be real, and that is the reason for samsara of all the human beings. So now let's go to the eighth verse where again Hastamalaka. Now, we can't say Hastamalaka because Hastamalaka is a name given by Shankaracharya after he listens to this whole thing. Now, this child again, he is talking about the very Swarupam of Atma. What is the nature of Atma? So, what does he say here? Yayeko vibhati, eighth verse. ययेको विभाति स्वतः शुद्धचेताः प्रकाशस्वरूपोऽपि नानेवधीषु शरावोदको शरावोदकस्थो यथा भानुरेकः स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. So he says, I am that consciousness, like light, which reveals everything. And I get reflected in all the buddhis. I am one consciousness. It's not that I have one consciousness, you have one consciousness, a dog has another consciousness, an elephant has another consciousness, an ant has some other consciousness. No, it's not. It is one consciousness. What the Lord Krishna said, Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. In all the beings, in all the sentient beings, living beings, where a Sukshma Sharira is there, where a Buddhi is there, being a very, very subtle reflecting surface, I, the one Atma, the one consciousness, reflects in many Buddhis. Who am I? I am that Shuddha Cheta. Here, Cheta means consciousness, not the mind. Shuddha Cheta. So, what does he say? Yayeko vibhati swataha Shuddha Cheta. Yayekaha vibhati. There is only one thing which shines. What is that? It is a light of consciousness. Again, be careful. Don't imagine a light. It is that in which everything is revealed. Yaha, this Yaha means this. But then here I have to understand it as I. I have to join it with the last line. Okay. So Yaha, Yekaha vibhati swataha shuddha cheta. Who am I? I'm that pure Shuddha Chaitanyam. I'm that Shuddha Chaitanyam, absolute light of consciousness with absolutely not a taint of matter. Shuddha Chaitanya, that is Shuddha Cheta. Prakasha Swarupaha. I'm that Prakasha Swarupaha. I light up everything. Because of me, everything becomes known. So Prakasha Swarupopi. Nana Ivadhishu. Nanevadhishu means what? Nana Ivadhishu. I shine. So though I am one consciousness, I, the same consciousness, in millions of buddhis, of millions of jiva, I reflect as a reflection, and so many jivas are formed. It is a reflection which is called as the jiva, which we saw in the fifth verse, Mukha Bhasa Ko Darpane we saw. So he says here, I am that one consciousness, Ekaha, Vibhati, shines, Swataha, by myself. I don't need something else to lighten me up. I don't need something else. See, even if I have to see sunlight, I have to be conscious. Even the light of the sun, the light of the moon, the light of the stars, this light, Agni, it's only the light of consciousness which lights up all these lights. That is why, what do we call it? We have seen it in our previous verses. Jyotisham Jyotihi. That which is the light of all lights. That light of consciousness, because of which all our other Vyavaharika lights are revealed. So he says here that Swaprakasha Rupopi, Prakasha Swarupopi, Nana Ivadhishu. We have to complete the sentence. I reflect or shine in many, many dhis, many, many buddhis, and become Nana Iva. I, the one consciousness, appears as many in different buddhis of different jivas. Because of what? Because of the reflection of me. And what is the example that is given? Sharavodakosthaha yatha bhanurekaha. Bhanureka means it is the sun. The sun which is reflected in multiple sharavas. Sharavas means a bowl, an open mouthed bowl. Ghata means what? A very narrow necked object. We may not see the reflection clearly. Whereas Sharava means an open mouthed or an open necked bowl, a wide one, in which we see the reflection of the sun. Supposing there are 10, say 10 buckets you can take, or 10 bowls of water are kept, we see 10 reflections. But then are these reflections real? No, the reflections belong to the reflecting medium, the water in the sharava. So what he says, Nana iva vibhami. Nana iva. Iva means what? As if I am many. I'm not really many. I'm that one sun, just like that one sun, which shines in different cups or bowls of water and looks as if it is many suns. Okay, so Bhanuhu Ekaha. Bhanu Rekaha means what? Bhanuhu, the sun, one sun, Sharavodakosthaha yatha. Just like it shines as many, I also reflect myself or get reflected in various buddhis, and it looks as if I am many. So Atma Bahutvam is rejected here. There are some philosophies which talk about Atma Bahutvam. That is rejected here. There are no multiple Atmas. There is one Atma which is getting reflected in all the jivas, and it appears as if I am many. That's what Lord Krishna said, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. This particular shloka of Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, is something which we have to constantly remember when we are talking about the ekatvam of I, the Atma. Then he gives another example. Now, all the verses which we are going to see further are simple verses because they're only going to give a lot of examples of I, the Atma Swarupa. Let's go to the ninth verse. He says, I have not explained sa Nityopalabdhi Swarupo Hom Atma. I have already explained it enough. I am that Atma which is constantly there, which manifests itself as multiple reflections in many buddhis and appears as though many. There are no many, but I am that one consciousness which is present in all the jivas. That's what he said in the 8th. In the ninth verse, he says, यथानेकचक्षुः प्रकाशो रविर्न क्रमेण प्रकाशीकरोति प्रकाश्यम् अनेकाधियो यस्ततैकप्रबोधः स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. So now he says that I, the consciousness, am I shining or am I appearing in the different jivas at different times? Is it that the consciousness in me now, after some time it comes to you, after some time it comes to you? No. It is there yugapat because it is all pervading. Yugapat means what? Simultaneously. Simultaneously. It is available in all the jivas as reflection. Supposing I stand in front of three mirrors, the three reflections are going to appear simultaneously or one after another? They are going to appear simultaneously, isn't it? Similarly, the all pervading Atma, I, am going to appear in all the jivas, in all the buddhis simultaneously, not kramena. As there is a buddhi, as many buddhis are there in this universe, including all the animals and known and unknown living beings, whatever, I am simultaneously getting reflected and shining in the buddhis of all these individual jivas. Yugapat I am shining simultaneously because why? I am available everywhere. I am the Sarvagata Nitya Upalabdha Atma. Therefore, wherever there is a reflecting surface, simultaneously I light up all the reflecting surfaces. So he says here, Yatha Aneka Chakshuhu Prakasho Ravihi. Ravihi means the sun is the Adhishtana Devata of our Chakshu, of our Indriya, of the eye Indriya. So Chakshur Indriya Devata, Adhidevata is Surya. When we get up in the morning in the light of the sun, what happens? It lights up, okay, all our eyes together. All our lights, it lights up together. It's not as if my eyes are lighted up first, then yours, then yours, then yours, nothing. Unless there is something wrong with my eyes. Otherwise, yatha aneka chakshuhu prakashaha ravihi. Sunlight, Ravi, sun, simultaneously lights up the Chakshurindriya and makes it capable of vision in all the Indriyas as the Adhishtana Devata. It is all the time there. That is what is meant by it. It's not as if the Adhishtana Devata is not there in the night and then it comes back in the morning. No. Simultaneously, Ravi as the Adhishtana Devata is there in all the Chakshurindriyas. Similarly, all the Adhishtana Devatas are simultaneously present in all the sense organs and the mind of every individual jiva. Kramena, na kramena prakashi karoti prakashyam. That means what? It does not do it one after other. No. What this means is Atma lights up simultaneously. That means what? The whole universe is lighted up by Atma Satrupena, Chitrupena in one go simultaneously, continuously, without any break, simultaneously. It is not something which starts here and there. Like it's not like sunrise where initially, mild, light comes, then little brighter comes, little brighter comes. No, that is the difference in the examples. What he's saying is the light, how it lights up when we come into the room. Say, four of us come into this room and put on the light. All the four, our pairs of eyes are lighted up simultaneously. It does not happen that the one who came first gets the vision first and all. It's not like that. So the example is given here. Yatha aneka chakshuhu prakashaha ravihi na kramena. It does not happen one by one, it happens simultaneously. What we call as yugapat prakashi karoti. Na kramena prakashi karoti prakashyam. All the objects of the world, the whole anatma universe is lighted up simultaneously. When? All the time. Because it's nitya upalabdhi, all the time. It's not as if the atma is switched off and switched on. It's not like that. It is there all the time and simultaneously lighting up the minds, the buddhis of every jiva like sunlight, which lights up all the chakshus simultaneously without any kind of a break in the order. It's not that it is going in a line like this, it is simultaneous. Prakashi karoti prakashyam. That which has to be revealed is revealed simultaneously by this consciousness. Anekadhiyo yaha tataika prabodhaha. Similarly, just like all the eyes are simultaneously lighted up by any source of light, similarly, aneka dhiyaha, many dhis, multiple dhis, millions of buddhi, dhi means buddhi, millions of minds, millions of buddhis are lighted up by this eka prabodhaha, one consciousness. So my consciousness is not different from yours. My consciousness is not different from the consciousness of some animal or a dog passing by. It is one consciousness, ekameva advitiya Atma, Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, which is lighting up, which is, invigorating the whole universe simultaneously. So he says, Anekadhiyo Yaha Tathaika Prabodhaha. Prabodhaha means sentience, consciousness, this consciousness like that. That consciousness which simultaneously lights up all the minds and the intellects everywhere, that constantly available Atma Aham Asmi. Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. Next, we come to the 10th verse. And in the 10th verse, he says, विवस्वत्प्रभातं यथा रूपमक्षं प्रगृह्णाति नाभातमेवं विवस्वान् यदा भात आभासयत्यक्षमेकः स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Now he says, our eyes can perceive an object only when it is lighted up by a light, correct? In the dark, when I come into a dark room, I don't know what is there. In my own home, yes, I know where things are. But when I come into a dark room, what is there, what are the objects there, my eyes cannot see. What can my eyes see? Only those objects which are lighted up by something else. In the daytime, they are lighted up by the Surya Prakasha. In the night time, they are lighted up by either Agni or our artificial lights. Correct? So he says, the difference he's saying, the Akshaha means here the sense organs. Akshi means eyes, Aksha means sense organs. Okay? All the sense organs. Vivasvat prabhatam yatha rupam aksham. Here, Aksham, we have to take it as, or eyes only because it's only the eyes which can see. He says, the eyes are not capable of seeing things which are not lighted up by another source of light. But what is it that makes the eyes itself see the light? The Jyotisham Jyotihi. It is nothing but this Atma. So he says here, Vivasvat means sun. We have seen Vivasvan. Vivasvate aham proktavan. Fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagwan Krishna said, this knowledge I gave to Vivasvan or Surya. Vivasvate prabhatam yatha rupam aksham pragranhati. The eyes are capable of grasping the vision of an object which is lighted up by another light. Na abhatameva vivasvan. But the light of the sun does not require any other light to light it up. Correct? The light of the sun does not require the object to light it up. No other object can light it up. Similarly here, yada bhata abhasa yatyaksham sa nityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. But if there is any light which is necessary to see these lights also, if there is any revealing consciousness which is not lighted up by any of these lights, but which is constantly present, it is nothing but this light of consciousness, and that light of consciousness I am. Sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. So what he's saying here is, because he has given the example of light so far, he doesn't want us to get confused that Atma is some kind of a light. Atma is called Jyotisham Jyotihi, the very light of all lights. It is because of this consciousness that the light of the sun, the light of the moon, everything about all the sources of light are available to us. We have seen that in Kathopanishad. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakah न मे नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति. So if that consciousness shines, then only all other lights are revealed. I am that light of consciousness, because of which the sun also, the lighted sun also, the sunlight also is available and perceived. And because of this light of consciousness only, that Adhidevata sun in my eyes is able to perceive the objects. Otherwise, I'm not able to. Sun may be there, but the Adhidevata, the eyes are there. Objects have to be bathed in light before the eyes can perceive it. But there is another greater source of light which is constantly there, because of which even these sources of light are lighted up, and that consciousness which is all the time present, all pervading, sanitya upalabdhi swarupoham atma. Now, next in the next, all these now next 2, 3 verses, the last 4 verses, they are very simple actually. They may be a little difficult to chant, but they're quite simple. But it's a beautiful, work to chant also. Very nice. Within different ragas also you can chant it. So, in the 11th verse, it says, Yatha Surya Yekyopanekaschalasu स्थिरा स्वप्यनन्यद्विभाव्य स्वरूपः चलासु प्रभिन्नः सुधीष्वेक एव स नित्योपलब्धि स्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. Another example. Yatha Suryah Ekah. Naturally, for our solar system, Surya is Ekah. But if you take the whole universe with hundreds of solar systems, millions of solar systems, there may be millions of suns. But then for our solar system, Yekah Suryaha, Yekopi, Anekas Chalasu Sthirasu Api. Supposing there is a water surface which is moving, it looks as if the sun is moving. If there is a water surface which is very clear, it looks as if the sun is absolutely stationary. So, what is it that is moving? It is the reflection that is moving with the reflecting surface. What is it that is steady? It is a reflection in steady water which is steady. Therefore, he says, Chalasu sthirasu api yekah suryah vibhati pratibimba vibhati. But what is this Surya? Anyat vibhavya swarupaha. It is not the water or the reflection. It is other than Anyat vibhavya swarupaha. It is other than what it lights up. It is other than the reflection. Similarly, this light of consciousness, this Atma, Chalasu Prabhinnaha Sudishu Eka Eva. This one consciousness appears as a reflection in a steady buddhi also, in an unsteady buddhi also. What's the meaning of unsteady buddhi? A buddhi which is constantly, a mind which is constantly vacillating, going here and there. There also, it is the same Atma which is getting reflected, and it looks as if this Atma is disturbed because of the movement of the mind. And I say, I am disturbed. I am not disturbed. It's the mind that is disturbed. And the I, which is getting reflected in the disturbed mind, the reflection is disturbed. And I attribute my disturbance to the Atma. Then what do I say? I'm steady. I'm Shantaha today. I'm steady today. It's not that this Atma is steady, the Buddhi is steady. The reflection in the Buddhi is steady. That is why I feel a sense of happiness, Purnatvam, satisfaction, all that I feel in a steady Buddhi. So just like sunlight or sun gets reflected in moving sources of water, in steady sources of water, and appears as if the sun is disturbed or moving, as if it is steady, only because of the reflecting surface, water, and the disturbance in the reflection. Similarly, I, this consciousness, chalasu prabhinnaha sudishu eka eva. Chalasu, moving, sudhishu, in a steady buddhi, prabhinnaha, different types of buddhis, moving, not moving, idle, whatever it is, different stages or different moods of the buddhis. I am that one consciousness, eva, eka eva. I am that one consciousness which is getting reflected in all kinds of buddhis. And because I am getting reflected in all kinds of buddhis, it is my reflection which is going here and there, but not me. And that yekameva atma sanityopalabdhi swarupoham atma. Then the 12th verse says, what does it say? Ghanachanna drishtir ghanachanna markam yatha nishprabham manyate chati mudhaha तथा बद्धवद्भाति यो मूढदृष्टेः स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. So he says that if a large body of cloud comes in the middle of my visual axis and the sun, when I'm seeing the sun, a large dark cloud comes and it is as though it is covering the sun. And what does a deluded intellect say? Does an ignorant person say? What do I say? The sun is covered by the clouds. Is it possible for the sun to be covered by clouds? Sun is huge. It is so many thousands and millions of miles away from here. Can this small cloud here, however big that cloud may be, can it really cover the sun? No. What is it that is covered? My visual axis is what is covered. Dripataha means what? My visual axis. Whatever I'm seeing, I'm looking at the sun and something is coming. My eyes, my visual axis, my path of vision is actually blocked, not the sun. But then what does an ignorant person say? The sun is covered, he says. So ghanachanna drishtihi. Drishtihi ghanachannaha. Ghanachannam arkam. Who says that? Ghanachanna arkam. Arkam means again sun. Ghanachanna drishti. My drishti is actually covered. Avaranam. But what does a Moodha say? Athi Moodha manyate Ghanachanna arkam yatha nishprabham. Sun is covered by cloud, so I am not able to see. It's become dull, it becomes dark, it has become dark. This is the opinion of a Ati Moodha. Ati Moodhasya, this is his feeling, okay? Tatha baddhavad bhati yo Moodha drishtehe. So all my bondage, baddhavat bhati. I say I am bound, I am unhappy, I am disgusted. What is the meaning of that? It is not the Atma that is bound. It's not the Atma that is samsari. It's not the Atma that is dukhi. I am samsari, I am dukhi, I am bound. Which is this I? Where is this avaranam? Where is this thing which is covering it? It is actually the avaranam of ignorance which is covering my drishtikona, not the Atma. So he says here, Tata Baddhavad Bhati. Just like a deluded, confused person says the sun is covered by cloud, a person who is an ignorant person says that Atma Aham Samsari. I am Baddha. I am bound. I am in bondage. I want freedom. Tata Baddhavad Bhati Yaha Moodha Drishtehe. A person who is a deluded intellect says, I am bound. I, the Atma, is not bound. The avaranam of avidya, which causes bondage, is covering my buddhi. It is not covering the Atma. Since it covers my buddhi, I am not able to see my reality as Atma and I suffer from bondage. And that Atma, that consciousness, which can never be covered or no avaranam can happen of Atma even by Maya, such a nitya upalabdhi swarupa Atma ahamasmi. Next, the 13th verse. समस्तेषु वस्तुष्वनुस्यूतमेकम् समस्तानि वस्तूनि यन्न स्पृशन्ति वियद्वत्सदा शुद्धमच्छस्वरूपं स नित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा. So Krishna said, Matsthani sarvabhutani. Everything is in me. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. I am there in everything, but not affected by anything. Na lipyate. Na me karmani limpanti. I am that consciousness which is present in everything. Everything is present in me, the consciousness. But nothing affects me. I am asanga like space. I am asanga. No karmas of the body, mind, sense complex affect me. No vyavahara of the jagat affects me. So who am I? I am the akarta, abhokta, shuddha, asanga atma. That's what he's saying here. Samasteshu vastushu anusyutam ekam. Sutre manigana iva. That's what he said, isn't it, in 7th chapter? I am that consciousness which is like a thread passing through everything. Samasteshu vastushu anusyutam ekam. I am this one consciousness which is all pervading, which is available everywhere. Samasteshu vastushu, whatever is there in that vastu, in that object, I am available as consciousness and existence. Samastani vastuni yan na sprishanti. Though I am there in and through everything in this world, nothing can touch me. Vastuni yat na sprishanti. I am not tainted by anything. There is no lepa from anything. Viyadvat sada shuddham achhasvarupam. I'm like the space. Again, example of space. Okay, Atma is not space, but that's an example given. Viyadvat, Viyad means space. Viyadvat, just like space. Sada Shuddham. Whatever may happen, a war may be happening, bombing may be happening, nuclear weapons might have been burst, whatever might have happened, the space remains untainted. Viyadvat sada shuddham, Acha Swarupam. Acha means what that? Purest by itself, whole, unaffected. Asanga Atma Ahamasmi. So, Sanityopalabdhi Swarupohamatma. That consciousness which is in and through everything in this jagat, but that same consciousness which is not affected by any of the gunas of all those things which it pervades, like space which gives opportunity for everything to exist in it, avakasham pradayati, for everything to exist, but the space is not affected by anything. This asanga atma ahamasmi. I'm in and through everything. Because of me, everything exists. Anything that is sentient is because of my sentience. I am that Chaitanya Swarupa Atma, because of which, in which the whole universe exists. In spite of that, I am not affected by anything, no lepa of any sort. I am completely nirlepa asanga Atma. Why? We have seen that Aham Atma Paramartha Swarupaha. Aham the Paramarthika Satyam, the absolute reality, whereas the Anatma is a relative reality, Vyavaharika Satyam. A lower order of reality cannot affect the higher order of reality. The example given is what? In dream, I may dream so many things. I may dream that I'm drowning in water, but that drowning in water does not make this waker drown in water. Similarly, I, the Atma, is everywhere providing satta and spurti to everything that is there, but I am unaffected by anything which I sustain. Therefore, I am what? I am Asanga Atma. And Sanityaha Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma Ahamasmi. The last verse, he says, Upadhavyatha Bhedata Sanmaninam Tatha Bhedata Buddhi Bhedeshu Tepi Yatha Chandrakanam Jale Chanchalatvam Tatha Chanchalatvam Tavapi Vishnu. Here he is addressing Acharya himself. Here Sarityopalabdhi is not there. The last line says, Tava api iha Vishnu. Hey Vishnu, hey Acharya, he is expressing, he is calling Acharya Shankaracharya Vishnu. Hey Vishnu. Upadhav yata bhedatam sanmanina. Sanmani means a pure crystal. If you keep a pure crystal, whatever is next to that, this crystal becomes of that color. A red cloth next to a crystal, the crystal appears red. But the crystal is not red. It is a mere appearance because of the upadhi. Because of the presence of the cloth, which is called as the upadhi, this particular sanmani or a pure crystal appears of a particular color. Upadhav yata bhedata sanmaninam. Different things kept next to a pure crystal, it reflects or it becomes of the color of the same thing that is kept there. It looks like that. तथा भेदता बुद्धि भेदेषु tepi. Similarly, this Atma appears to have the Upadhi Dharma as if, because the body mind sense complex is so close, the buddhi is so close to this consciousness, it appears as if the consciousness, is tainted by the Upadhi. And that is true for you also, Tepi. In you also, hey Acharya, hey Vishnu, you also have a body mind sense complex. Just like me, just like this body mind sense complex, as though is appearing or as though it is influencing the Atma, it's not really influencing, as though. When you find a Sanmani looking red in the presence of a red cloth, it is an appearance, it is not the reality. Similarly, all the buddhi bhedas, all the buddhi doshas, all the anatma doshas, what do? I try to project them upon me, the Atma, out of ignorance, because of ignorance. In the Sanmani, I can see clearly that the Mani is here, the Upadhi is here. Because of this, it is reflecting. But when it comes to me, the Atma and the Anatma are so close together. I'm not able to see that all the dharmas of Anatma, the dharmas of this Upadhi Anatma, are being projected upon I, the Atma, by this Jiva. I, the mind, the buddhi, the chidabhasa, superimposes, projects all the dharmas of the body, mind, sense complex onto me. And therefore I say, I am ill, I am sad, I am happy, I am poor. All these things, I am not. They're all the dharmas of the upadhi. But because of the proximity of the upadhi, out of ignorance, I project all the deficiencies and the dharmas of the upadhi onto myself. Bhedata buddhi bhedeshu te api. That is what is happening in all of us. In me also, in you also, hey Acharya. In you also it is happening. Yatha, it is Chandrakarnam. It is not Chandrikarnam. In some books it is given Yatha Chandrikarnam. It is Chandrakarnam. Yatha Chandrakarnam Jale Chanchalatvam. When the moon is getting reflected into Chanchala water, it looks as if there are multiple moons. Correct? When you find a very moving water which is sort of with lot of waves and everything, we find many moving moons, multiple moons. Yatha chandrakarnam jale chanchalatvam. The moon is not chanchala, but the whole moon appears disturbed, chanchala, multiple. That is because of the upadhi. That is because of the anatma body mind sense complex, which is so closely associated. Because this consciousness is anusyutam in the anatma also. Yatha chandrakarnam jale chanchalatvam तथा चंचलत्वं तव अपि इह विष्णु. Hey Vishnu, hey Acharya, hey teacher, it is the same Upadhi Dharma that is happening in you also. That means what? As the Shishya and the Acharya, it is your Upadhi which is making you the Acharya. It is the Upadhi which is making me the Shishya. But that consciousness behind your Guru Upadhi and the consciousness behind the Shishya Upadhi are one and the same. It doesn't mean that Hastamalaka is talking out of arrogance, and not that Shankaracharya is going to feel bad about it. Because Shankaracharya was so impressed by this that he gave the name Hastamalaka to him, and not only that, Acharya Shankara wrote even a commentary on Hastamalaka Stotram. So, how happy the Guru must have been. So he says, if you are a Guru and I am a Shishya, It is your upadhi and buddhi because of which you are. Shishyacharya yata bhedataha. We'll see that in Dakshinamurti Stotram. It is one consciousness, Pita, Putra, Shishya, Guru, as manifesting as different things and different people with different roles because of the upadhi. It is not different consciousnesses. So, hey Vishnu, Tava Aipi Iha, for you also. You are also having this upadhi because of which the dharmas of the upadhi are transferred to you. Of course, it's not happening in Shankaracharya, he's a jnani. But what here he's saying is it will happen in every individual being. And because of this upadhi, you are the guru and I am the shishya. And vyavaharikataya, a shishya has to respect the guru, a shishya has to learn from the guru, a shishya has to do namaskara and surrender to the guru, vyavaharikataya. But the guru also knows that paramarthikataya, there is no difference between me, the guru, and you, the shishya, because both of us are the same consciousness. It is only the Upadhi Dharma which has differentiated. Same way, our Ishta Devatas also know that we are not different from them. It is out of ignorance I feel the Ishvara Upadhi. Yes, it is bigger, it is greater, it is much more than this Upadhi. But ultimately, that consciousness behind the Ishvara Upadhi, that consciousness behind the Guru Upadhi, and that consciousness behind the Bhakta Upadhi or the Shishya Upadhi are one and the same. Therefore, he says, Tatha Chanchalatvam Tava Api Iha Vishnu. And this particular body dharma, Anatma Dharma, being transferred on to the Atma is the most common, is the only common thing between all the jivas and the cause of bondage among all the jivas. Then who am I? I'm not the Anatma, body, mind, sense complex, but I'm the Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma. I am that Asanga Nitya, always available, Nirvikari, Niravayava, light of consciousness, which is nothing but Atma. Just imagine this is the answer given by a child of 3 or 4 years. Shishu. Shishu means not even a balaka, younger than a boy, is the answer given to a simple question of who you are. An introduction to himself is given in this. Very similar to Atma Shatkam we saw. Anatma negation, then saying in positive way what the Atma is. Negating the Anatma first and then positively affirming what I am as the Atma Swarupa. So with this we come to the close of Hastamalakiyam iti Srimad Shankaracharya Krita Hastamalaka Samvada Stotram Sama. ॐ नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्थाशाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.